Who needs persistence when you got that Nosferatu? That's right, guys. We're doing Nosferatu 2024 today. Welcome to Vouch for Me. I'm your host, Eric West, and of course, I have Abraham Lincoln.
Hello there.
And PapaNasty.
Hey, how we doing?
We saw it. We did it. A great film to add to Robert Eggers' filmography, if you will. He made his money, guys. As of recording, I'm pretty sure they're at 69 million, and it was a $50 million film. And this is only the second week it's been out. So
it was released on Christmas Day,
which is very crazy for like being a demonic film to release on Christmas. The birth of Jesus, like that's pretty wild.
The movie takes place close to Christmas, like a few days leading up to Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's mentioned at one point in the movie. Yeah.
So many of my coworkers have brought this freaking movie up. It's so crazy to me. Every other day, someone's like, I went and saw Nosferatu. And I'm like, are you scarred emotionally? They're like, yes.
Yeah. One of my coworkers saw it on opening day and she was baffled that it was a full house. I was like, damn, Deadpool and Wolverine wasn't even a full house. I guess people want to go see a real movie.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But before we dig into it, I guess what's drawing people into the theater? It's a crazy looking movie, I guess.
Yeah, it's almost like a, not necessarily a historical domain, but like a lot of people are semi-aware with Nosferatu, even if they don't know what he is because of media references like SpongeBob, for example.
There's also been a lot of hype on social media about it just being like, oh, it's for the shock value of it, and then it being like not a horror film, but a horror film, which we can deep dive into that later. But I've been seeing a lot of craze on social media, people hyping it up.
An acclaimed director that's only had 4 movies.
Yeah, and like you said, social media presence. PapaNasty, was it you off the pod who was telling me about where Robert Eggers saw Nosferatu as a kid?
Yes. Yeah, so he had seen it when he was 8 or 9 years fucking old. At that age, he saw it. That his parents they're big film snobs. I think we kind of dove into one of the other pods, but yeah, he fucking had seen it at a super young age, and he just loved it. And then he did a play about it, and then the play was so good that a college director dude hit him up and was like, hey, would you want to do another one? And yeah, he had like an actual professional one in high school where he did.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so he's been obsessed with Nosferatu.
This guy was made to be a film director.
Well, because he was born in the 80s, I think, Robert Eggers, 85 if I'm not wrong. And in 1979, they had a remake of Nosferatu made. But it was a remake of it. I think it was Spanish. We would have to double check the notes on that. But when they remade it, they were able to use the original names from Dracula because if you guys don't know, Nosferatu is based off of Dracula. It's blatantly a ripoff with a few things changed. And we'll talk more about how they got their asses sued when it was first made. But so one of the sequels or the remakes, it came out in 1979. He was born a few years later. Parents were film snobs. It makes sense. Damn. So Nosferatu to Robert Eggers is like Abraham Lincoln and Jurassic Park.
More or less.
That's pretty good.
And apparently, like, this was supposed to be the second film he was ever going to make, but it kept getting put off because of various issues, plus him not even being sure if he's worthy of making a film adaptation of Nosferatu, stuff like that. And it went through many different, like, casting changes. Like, for example, originally Count Orlok was going to be played by possibly Mads Mikkelsen or Willem Dafoe, but then they changed it up a little bit because supposedly Bill Skarsgård was going to be Thomas Hutter, but instead they made him the monster and cast Nicholas Hoult as Thomas.
Damn, it's crazy that they swap around people like that. Just quick reference to the Jurassic Park thing. Yeah, so you would run around school acting like running around school acting like a fucking velociraptor, whereas Robert Eggers is running around school acting like Nosferatu. Could you even imagine? Yeah, he goes up to his crush and he's like, "You have 3 days. You have 3 days to kiss me, or I'm gonna kill your entire family."
He stands on top of the slide of the playground and extends his hand in the sun's shadow, so it's like reaching across the playground towards her.
Oh my god! So let's start digging into a few things just out of curiosity's sake. This is officially Act 1, if you will. And so let's talk about the cast. Because you mentioned how it went through a lot of changes, but Lily Rose Depp is our girl in this movie. What the fuck, dude? Johnny Depp's daughter Didn't even know she existed. Have I been sleeping on her? I didn't know.
It's fair to sleep on her because she wasn't in anything super high profile leading up into this. I think she had like some roles where she did perform well, but up until this point, most people did write her off as another Nepo baby actress.
Bro, she debuted in Tusk.
A lot of people wrote her off in The Idol because it was so fucking bad.
Ooh, never heard of that one.
It was The Weeknd's TV show on Max that got canceled after one season.
Understandable. Yep, in 2023. Who knew?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, he was in that. Okay.
Yeah, he was the lead and he was terrible, and I think that soured people's opinions of her.
Bro, she's been working at it for 10 years trying to make it in this game, and she finally made it. We'll be seeing so much more of her. And of course, alongside her, you had Bill Skarsgård, who's been killing it as freaky, horrible monster creature things. If you want to have a nightmare about any man whatsoever, it's fucking Skarsgård.
It's funny that he was in Crow also. Remember the one movie I wanted to review?
Yeah.
I was like, guys, we should do it. And I seen clips of it. I'm like, fuck, it's terrible. And so it's kind of funny that he was in that one, which did really terrible, and now he's in this one. It's actually doing pretty fucking good from what I've been.
It turns out even an immaculate actor can't save a horribly written movie.
Yeah.
That's depressing. Nicholas Holt's in this, and he plays the greatest simp you've ever seen in your life. Who knew?
He plays a good man. I think
He
was
plays a good man.
Yeah, he was a huge simp in The Menu.
Oh, okay. So he's finally stepping it up in the world. Now he's just a softie.
You got Aaron Taylor Johnson as what's his name? Friedrich or something like that. Friedrich something.
Friedrich. Yeah, and then of course Emma Corrin. Don't really know her very well, but then our boy Willem Dafoe.
Emma Corrin was the villain in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Well, couldn't have told you that because she had hair in this one.
Yeah, that was Cassandra Nova.
Damn, good eye, Abel.
I recognized her name.
Yeah, I don't always read I should be reading them all. I know we did Deadpool Wolverine. That's when we were worse about doing this part, where we were worse about talking about the cast.
Because for comic book movies, you just have to make pop culture references.
Of course, Willem Dafoe is playing our Van Helsing stand-in. Of course, he has a different name, but he's he's basically Van Helsing. That's funny.
I love how he's like a kind of a crack-headed Van Helsing. Like he has all this knowledge, but you never see him really doing anything like Van Helsing-esque. You know, he's not really the going and attacking the fucking monster. He's just like, I know about this, but I just know. And he's old, and it's kind of funny.
Dude, he's basically completely discredited in the community, and to everyone else's eyes in this 1839, he's a dumb piece of shit. But when he comes on screen, he's the only one that has the answers, and you're like, dude, come on. Someone listen to this man. Somebody fucking let him kill a goddamn vampire.
He's the only one speaking any sense in here, including Ellen, but everyone completely disregards them because, as Count Orlok later mentions, like, in your Western world, like, a lot of the traditions and superstitions out here may seem backwards.
Do you want to give us a synopsis of the movie, Abel?
I also wanted to mention one last cast member, Ralph Ineson, or I don't know how to say his last name. He plays the doctor who attempts to treat Ellen. I was trying to remember where he was from, and I realized he was the dad in The Witch.
That's crazy. He's keeping him around.
Like, Robert Eggers reusing actors again.
Great. Yeah, he knows he's got good actors. Why fuck around with it?
But anyways, yeah, synopsis. All right, here we go. Our young man, Thomas Hutter, is sent to go finalize a real estate deal with Count Orlok in Transylvania. Turns out Count Orlok has been preying upon his wife since childhood and wants to get closer to her so he could slide up on her DMs, and now they need to find a way to save the day because this guy's about to kill everyone, more or less.
He's about to commit war crime just to bust a nut. That's fucking crazy.
It's not war crimes if you don't declare war.
Oh, let's discuss themes of the movie. Not all of them, but since we did bring up war, one of the major themes of Nosferatu, especially the original one in 1922, it came on after World War I because the original director was involved in World War I. And so the horrors of war, just going and seeing everyone plagued by death, plagued by everything, and there's no hope in this goddamn world. And so he's like, what if a creepy vampire guy could do that?
Wasn't that he was also passing through a village, got talking to this farmer guy, and this farmer guy's like, yeah, my fucking dad one day, I guess people started seeing him and became a vampire. And so that's where he got that story from, so if I remember correctly. And they had to go and kill his dad. Like his dad, they found him in the grave. They went and just like, stabbed him and cut his head off.
Can you imagine?
Like, oh shit.
If you hadn't heard about that, Abel, that between the theme of him being from World War One and then where he originally got the idea from Nosferatu, allegedly, and then he was like, "Hey, Dracula would be a great opportunity for me to take my character and put it over that story."
I remember reading that supposedly a common explanation for vampires was just simply people dying of TB because they would cough up blood and, they would be found dead with like blood coming out of their mouth or something like that because they were like coughing up their lungs.
That's sad. In reference to this, you said one of the first works of vampire fiction was
Carmilla.
Carmilla? Do you know the era on that?
Predates Dracula by a few years. I can't remember exactly how many years. You can go ahead and look it up while I go into her a little bit. But Carmilla predates and is the originator of a lot of the tropes of vampires. Like the subtext was like subtle at the time, but these days adaptations of Carmilla really just like hammer in like, oh yeah, she was a lesbian. She's the reason why we have this idea that vampires are like these beautiful things whose like their beauty just lulls you into a sense of security, and that's how they feed on you and shit.
Dude, like all women, that's wild. No, wait a minute, that's an overgeneralization.
What do you do?
Just like the beautiful women that have lulled us into their lives, and now we're bound.
Abel's our Mexican Google. He works 98% of the time.
I learned a little bit of her because she is a character in Dracula's court in Castlevania.
That's cool, though. Castlevania has some lore accurate shit. Carmilla came out 1872. Bram Stoker...
1898, I believe, is Dracula.
Yeah, 1898, 1897. So that's pretty fascinating. So they've been building the lore. Also, Dracula and Carmilla were also based loosely on, various lore and stories that they've accumulated over time.
Yeah, actual historical figures, possibly. Like Dracula's lightly based on Vlad the Impaler.
So Carmilla got her red wings, and everybody's like, "She's a vampire! She's a vampire!"
Ah! Oh, no, man. that's the plot of The Witch.
That's
basically, yeah.
Yeah. No, actually,
Let's blame everything on the teenage girl.
Yeah, wrong Robert Edgar's film. So Frederick Wilhelm Murnau, he was the director of the original 1922 Nosferatu silent film, and it was produced by Alban Grau. Alban Grau was a devout occultist at that time, and he started a production company specifically to make occult films. He was a part of the Fraternitas Saturni. Upon making this movie together, it was a great time. Murnau was a renowned director in Germany at the time, but then they got sued. They got sued by Dracula's estate, and I think, who was it? One of you guys told me about it. It was the wife
Yeah, Bram Stoker's wife.
Yeah, Bram Stoker had passed away, and she was a widow, and she saw this come out, and all the money was generating, and she was like, "What the fuck? That's my husband's work. I'm dying here. Gonna start selling my booty and making an OnlyFans." so then she she sued them.
She was about to start making her OnlyFans. Oh, that's pretty crazy.
And so, they started consolidating all the Nosferatu copies they could find and start burning them and shit. And the reason Nosferatu survived to this day is because some people made bootlegs of it and saved some copies here and there and distributed them to keep them alive. Because regardless of whether or not that suing was ever going to take place, another thing is, like, back then, film preservation wasn't really a common practice. Like, once a movie was out of theaters, they just got rid of it. So I think by some form of the Streisand effect here taking place, where the more she tried to delete Nosferatu from existence, the more people became aware of it. And that's why Nosferatu became culturally significant.
Yeah, and it was so iconic nowadays when you look back on it. People like to regard it as like one of the birthplace of horror cinema, one of the first depiction of a vampire in media. So they are in film. Yeah, exactly.
In media would have been Carmilla.
Yeah, so they did not want to let it die, which is fucking amazing. I just love that concept altogether. The production company that originally produced it, they made this one movie, and then they went bankrupt. And and then Murnau went to live a decent life, and then Grau, I don't think he wasn't doing movie stuff anymore. And then to make things worse, because this happened in 1922, by 1938 or 9, the Nazis said, "You're not allowed to be a cult anymore," and they shut down all of the occultist shit. And so he lost his favorite club too. And so he had to go home. And he's like, oh man, I can't even play with the vampires anymore.
One thing I wanted to add in about the original Nosferatu movie. So the original Count Orlok was played by an actor named Max Schreck. Apparently Willem Dafoe played Max Schreck in like a film based on his life, based on like the making of Nosferatu or something like that. So it's just a funny little casting gag in there too.
That's freaking great.
He was a trippy. He was also like an early method actor, and he was very like a lone wolf, and he would do some weird things. I won't go down the tangent rabbit hole, but yeah, there were stories of him going to woods out by himself and just being away from everybody. Like he would do some weird shit.
That's funny because Willem Dafoe loves to do that shit too. Like during The Lighthouse when he chose to go hang out by himself while everybody else was having a good time. They're like, "Where's Dafoe?" And he's like, "I think he's still in the cabin. I don't know what he's doing."
He's in front of the light dancing in front of it naked or something.
And
Like, dude, we're not even filming. What are you doing? The light belongs to me.
he's just drunk and naked. Oh, that's awesome. All right, we're spilling our beans. Let's get back topic.
Now I'm about to go back and watch all of Robert Eggers' films after this.
No, yeah, I would love to do a few more actually, but yeah, that's the issue with Nosferatu is Willem Dafoe did not show Nosferatu as a lobster, so that was he fucked up.
He said his lobster could have beaten Nosferatu. What are you talking about?
All he had to do, all he had to do is rip ass, dude, and the farts. Okay, all right.
No, I was no, it's about his big old dick fighting Nosferatu.
Oh, okay. Speaking of big old dicks, though, all right, and this actually goes back to our discussion of Nosferatu. Abel, I think you probably heard about the story since the last time we recorded.
Yeah. You want me to go into it?
Oh, feel free. I know as much as you do, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, funny story about a Nosferatu costume is at one point in the film, Nosferatu's seen full body naked, and he's got like, his penis is visible. And after filming, Bill Skarsgård kept it for himself, and apparently he gave it to Nicholas Hoult, who now has it framed on his wall.
I know. How do you feel about that? PapaNasty doesn't even know how to feel.
I think it's funny as hell.
That is too nasty for me.
Well, because what I heard too is that during the scenes where he was sucking on his chest, people were like, "Oh, was that weird? Was that uncomfortable?" And he's like, "Only because I felt the prosthetic penis the whole time." And it's like, oh,
yeah, we'll go into it a little bit later. But that one scene where
spoiler alert, God damn it!
That one scene where he's like feeding later, like he's like strangely like arching his hips, like he's humping him while he's feeding on him. It was like, I know it was subtext in the original, but in this film they really just hammered it in to make it even more clear that Nosferatu is like an allegory for like sexual predation and stuff like that.
Nosferatu got that dog in him. That's what he got. He ain't afraid to give it to whoever.
He's got that rat in him.
Talk about the rat symbolism too in a second.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're already kind of digging into some of the story here, and so this is where we get to talk about a lot of the fun themes comparing the original story to this new story. A lot of things that Robert Eggers brought to the table was he made a lot of sexual tones. He brought a lot more shock value into this. For example, the opening of the movie is Ellen, right? She's kind of giving herself up to the universe.
She's depressed and lonely.
A little spoiler alert, turns out that she has some sort of psychic abilities and her mom died, her dad hates her. She's running around the woods like you always do when you have no family. Just running around the woods, praying to random gods, just, somebody please save me. And then Nosferatu heard her, this poor little girl being like, oh, I need a daddy in my life. And then he comes out of nowhere and he's like, you want something, girl? Like, whoa, buddy, this is crazy. And like right out the gate, it's strange too, because she's being possessed in a way. You don't see him quite yet. And she's like, it's already sexual. She's already starting to moan and stuff. And I was like, what the fuck are we getting into right now?
The human soundboard? Can you mimic that? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I'm not the actress Lily Rose Depp is.
She is very psychic and very horny. That's what we immediately get introduced to her character.
She accidentally posted a Facebook status saying feeling lonely tonight, and fucking Count Orlok slid into her DMs and said, I'm outside your house.
Yeah. Twirling his mustache.
Yep. She had a premonition of some pre-ejaculation. Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Hey, yo.
She's got a plan. My coworker, when seeing this movie, he told me, he's like, bro, this really outed all the kinks in the crowd, all the people with the because you could tell who was uncomfortable and you can tell who was into it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck.
It's like the scene from Grease, like, tell me more, tell me.
Yeah. No.
But anyways, we cut to the modern day. She's now happily married to Thomas Hutter. He works for like a local bank / state agency, more or less. And he's being told by his boss to go finalize this deal to a weird, eccentric, rich count out in the wilderness because he's going to buy this house in town. And he's kind of been dangling this promotion in front of him. And Thomas is desperate to move up in society. Like, even though Ellen pleads to him that she's content with their life. Back then, like, and yeah, I mean, even to this day, social climbing is like a really big thing for some people. They want to try and move up in social status. So he really wants this promotion. So he's like, fine, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do anything so I could buy a bigger mansion for me and Ellen.
I don't think more he's trying to climb the social ladder. I think he wants to, because I think he's kind of interning more or less. Like, he's getting paid, but he's still not fully on with the company.
There's like subtle implications that he's friends with Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, but he's jealous of how much richer he is.
No, he's not jealous. He owes him money. That's the thing. He took out a loan to get married to her to have what their living situation is.
But you can see the power dynamic. You can see the power dynamic between the two characters. You respect both of the men, but you know, because come on. If I owed you $40,000 and I'm like, hey man, I'll get you that money, I promise, and you're like, no, it ain't nothing but a thing. You'll get it to me eventually. There will always be that power dynamic of like, you are superior to me. And so in that, and then we also keep talking about how we think Hutton's such a little bitch.
The movie didn't make it clear, but Aaron Taylor Johnson's character is the city's mayor, so hence more of that power dynamic. The movie did not make that clear. I learned that from looking at the casting and the character list.
Which he did a great job. You know, I was a little worried about him being that character, but he really did. He did go into that role really well. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I loved Ellen and Thomas's love. So beautiful, so pure.
There's an implication that they like to fuck or something. Like the way she's just like pleading him not to leave, but keeps like trying to beckon him back into bed. He's like, sorry, I gotta go to work, honey.
Nothing wrong with that. I don't know how you guys
She was
feel.
down bad. She was down bad. That yeah, that goes back into
We
the movie
talked about how
themes.
horny and psychic she's been since a little bit younger. So she's kept it up. She wasn't traumatized.
Yeah, as big as her forehead is, she is that horny.
Dude, it might as well be a billboard that says fuck me.
Yeah.
But so it's gorgeous. Their love is fantastic. The weird dynamic with his boss and him, and almost immediately he's off on his merry ass way. So, you know, let's just kind of fast forward a little bit. He meets Orlok, but before he even meets Orlok, he fucking witnesses vampire stuff.
Yes.
But he still questions whether or not any of it's real, considering like how loopy and dream statey that his journey through Transylvania was. Like he would like pass out and then wake up later and like question whether or not what he saw was real and shit.
His boots were dirty. It was clearly real.
And he was tied to the bed.
What? He was tied to the bed?
His legs were tied to the bed.
Oh, yeah. I think that was real.
Were they always tied, like at the beginning, or?
So let's dial this back a little bit. So he shows up to that inn in, I guess, like Transylvania, wherever the fuck they are. And yeah, he meets a bunch of Romanis, and they kind of play a prank on him by like dancing and playing music when he shows up. Like they're excited to see him, but then they all start laughing at him, and then they tell him like, don't go to the castle, like it's a bad omen. Like one of them is like praying for him. The innkeeper refuses to take him in, but he bribes him to like, I'll pay you double, just let me stay here. And so he sleeps a night, and he like hears all that commotion going on the night. He goes out there and he watches the Romani performing some kind of ritual to track down a vampire's grave and then try and kill said vampire. He watches him drive a stake through the vampire's corpse, and then it immediately starts vomiting up blood, and then he screams. And then suddenly it just cuts to him waking up in his bed, debating on whether or not any of it was like real. And then he like leans his head up and he sees his legs are tied to the bed and his boots are dirty.
Yeah, I think it was real. I think that was a real thing.
Oh yeah, I'm not debating that it wasn't real. It's making him question whether or not it even happened.
Well, then why are we fighting, Abel? I'm kidding.
Fight. When he meets Orlok, he almost asks him immediately about it. He's like, oh, those Romanis have some strange customs. What was going on back there?
Please disregard them.
don't you fucking ever talk about that ever. I'm not an evil vampire. And you're like, okay, no one.
Wait.
I want to talk about the lead up into that. The debate as to whether or not the Romani, like, did they steal his horse because because he wakes up and he sees his horse is gone. And, like, do you think they took his horse to fuck with him, or do you think they took him to try and stop him from going?
Absolutely, try to stop him. Yeah, I know we all agree in unison. They were trying to stop him.
Abel did tell me off the pod. He's like, those gypsies took his horse. He's like, I've met a few gypsies.
Abel said, between you and me, bud.
We live in a generation where you could totally AI fake me making crimes and I'll go to prison for it.
Cool.
Only if you're in London.
The shot I wanted to talk about is so as he's like going through the forest right up to like Orlok's castle, he gets like picked up by that carriage, and it just made me think of that scene in Bloodborne when you're going to Castle Canehurst. I immediately thought of that, and I wanted to share that with you when we were gonna do this.
Yeah, I thought it was so perfect. It was accurate, and in the setting of Nosferatu feels so much like Bloodborne. It's fantastic. It's crazy that they use that. It makes you wonder.
Gothic Victorian.
The manless carriage showing up to pick you up. That must be some kind of like old fucking tale or something. Yeah,
it's probably an old horror trope. I'll have to look into like where that originates.
Yeah, how fucking stupid is he though to get into that carriage? But anyways, let's keep going forward.
He's desperate and terrified.
Man's desperate, he's terrified, and we only see more of that because the whole time he's away, Ellen is tweaking her little heart out. She keeps having these crazy dreams. He shows up on fucking Orlok's doorstep and starts realizing things are awry. And let's just get to the part where he's terrified and he is sitting in front of a piece of paper he doesn't know what it is, and he signs it because it's my father's language. It's the old language.
He thinks it's the estate deal, but what he doesn't realize is he actually signed divorce papers annulling his marriage to Ellen and promising her to Orlok.
This is the part of the movie that pisses me off because PapaNasty and I have agreed upon this. I agree there's character development in this, but right now he is terrified, he is desperate, and he is a little bitch, and it makes me mad the whole time he's in the castle. It's a good setup. I get thematically it's important because you're watching a horror movie and the person in the movie has to make the wrong decisions. And in this context, it makes sense why he makes the wrong decisions. So it's not like plot holes or nothing. But also, it's like, brother, at some point, just say, stand up for your fucking self. Tell this man no. He's worried he's going to get murdered? I don't know.
You say that like there's also not the implication that Orlok's kind of got him in some kind of like coercion spell or something because he's just like doing everything like just okay, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, that is a good point. I think the spell does play a big role. He finally realizes that this dude's clearly a vampire or some shit because Abel, you know the scene pretty well of when he's trying to find his way out of there and he fucking comes across the coffin.
Yeah, with zero hesitation. He remembers what he saw the Romani did in the forest, so he just finds the biggest weapon he could find, and he was about to try and kill Orlok, but Orlok wakes up and stops him, stands over him with this giant penis dangling in front of him, and that's when he tries to flee. And yeah, last we see of him is he jumps off a balcony and into a river. But also, he was being chased by a pack of wolves, which, according to production, were like a pack of real wolves. And Nicholas Hoult was genuinely terrified that they were going to hurt him.
Yeah, prior to production, they had them all fucking in cages, and they were just getting all riled up and like, oh, fuck, dude, that's insane. And then there's some good fast forwarding here because we've pretty much got to the point where we know a couple things. This is the conflict. Nosferatu's coming to Germany. He's coming, guys. Get ready.
Someone's coming to town, and it ain't Santa Claus.
It ain't Santa, baby, but Christmas is coming too.
Yeah,
he's coming.
Hey,
he's coming.
We're all coming. Wait, no,
I know.
Yeah. Wrong
podcast. And by the end of this movie, someone else is going to be coming. But we'll.
Yeah. Hey.
So Nosferatu does his thing. He fucking hops on a ship, brings a bunch of crates. We don't know what's in the crates. He kills all of the crew one by one and fucking puts them through a horrible, torturous nightmare of plague and murder one by one. He crashes the manless ship onto the shore, and all like 1,000 million fucking rats come out and attack the whole goddamn city. All while Holt is like I gotta get better. 2, I got a little sneeze going on. Oh, I better get taken care of in this hospital. And everyone's just, the entire city's being destroyed. He's the only one that knows what's going on. And he's just like, I'm just feeling a little sneezy today, guys. I don't think I could go.
He's across the ocean in a country without a horse. He basically has to steal one to escape. This is also during a time when you can realistically just die from the fucking flu.
Bro, call a fucking Uber. Come on.
He doesn't have Uber installed like Count Orlok. Count Orlok could just like hypnotize someone into giving him a ride.
Yeah, what happened to the magic carriage earlier? Worked the last time. Doesn't work now.
That's because Orlok rented it for him. He wasn't going to give it back to him.
That's true. That's true.
To be fair, if a man Dracula or if a man vampire thing sucked on me without my consent, I would be out for a couple days too. I would be sad.
He was also probably like low on blood and shit, so it made him really weak. Because he fed on him multiple times the entire time he was in the castle, right?
Speaking of low on blood, the entire time they've been away, Ellen's been dealing with sleepwalking shit, and in order to cure her sleepwalking, they've been bloodletting her because they're like, oh, she has extra blood. Let's take out all of her fucking blood. So throughout the course of the movie, they're draining her goddamn blood. And so that will have no repercussions later. I'm sure it won't.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Nosferatu shows up and makes his plea. He's a persistent man and he pulled the old Nosferatu, if you know what I'm saying. And this is how it goes, guys. You go up to your lady and you tell her, you have 3 days. And if you don't consent to this, I will kill your family. I will kill your loved ones and ultimately your husband. And if that doesn't work, I don't know what will. Yeah.
Oh, man. That's a line straight out of the Eric West How to Pick Up That Date.
Also, in all this chaos, we find out that Hutter's boss at the agency apparently made a deal with Orlok. And so that's how this all started. And now he's going crazy in a freaking psych ward. The doctor just writes him off as crazy. And we don't revisit this until much later when it's already too late.
Oh, that was a cool twist. The boss being in cahoots with Orlok. I'm like, you piece of shit.
Yeah, now it all comes together.
I still argue Orlok is probably orchestrating the whole thing.
Oh yeah, but like common vampire tropes, he needs consent or permission to go anywhere. And so he needed an estate in town to come. And so now that he's a proud homeowner in Visburg, that's when he decides to fucking come.
Yeah, he's like, babe, I got a house, want to come over? It's like, no, I still don't want to come over. I got a carriage, I got a house.
Orlok's trying to build his own Hotel Transylvania. That's what he's trying
to do. That's awesome. Let's go.
At some point, the doctor realizes whatever plaguing Ellen is cannot be explained by conventional medicine. And so he enlists the help of von Franz, our Van Helsing ripoff, who is played by Willem Dafoe. And he quickly comes to a conclusion. He was like, oh yeah, this woman's possessed by a demon. And he was like, oh, surely you mean hyperbole? He's like, no, I mean she's actually possessed by a demon. Because this man knows the occult exists, and that's where he and the scientific community differ.
I loved when he was like giving shit to because he was a professor, and then that the doctor was the student of Defoe.
He was a senior to him in the university.
But he's like, I have seen things that would make Isaac Newton go up his mother's womb. He's like, I have wrestled with the devil, and I'm like, oh, that's so fucking cool.
Dude, I want a Von Franz movie, bro. I want to see what this boy's been up to. Fuck Van Helsing. I want Von Franz.
Von Franz, yes. We're gonna start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, no, we got some fun occult bullshit. So literally, he shows up. He knows everything that's going on pretty much immediately, and Nosferatu shit starts happening. First and foremost, Ellen's bestie, who is married to Aaron Taylor Johnson, she gets the plague. Also, everyone's getting the plague, and it's from the rats. But in addition to that is also the influence of Nosferatu, because we didn't discuss it, but he is very likely birthed or created by Belial, who is an archdemon in like Hebrew mythology, the real Hebrew mythology, that he's all about pestilence and the great death. And so that's what Orlok brings with him. And so he's cursing the fuck out of everybody. The wife gets sick. Aaron Taylor Johnson starts losing his fucking mind. She dies. The kids, day 2, fuck it, guys. Day 2, the kids die. They get murked.
Yeah, she walked in on them being eaten by Orlok.
Dude, the screams, like when she's like trying to wake up Aaron Taylor Johnson and the screams that are coming from the bedroom. Oh, dude, they were so uncomfortable. That was hard. And then when she goes in the room and he has one of the kids drained on the ground and the other kid just drops like a sack of potatoes and she's like, that was a rough scene. That was like, ugh.
And he put a spell on him so he wouldn't wake up too.
So only Ellen witnessed it, once again affirming that she's the crazy bitch. And so he wakes up to this and he's like, this is your fault. And then he decides to go, they bury him.
In his madness.
And then, he's a little sick too, guys. I got to tell you, the plague got to his brain, but that didn't stop him from going back to the graveyard looking for a little Strange.
He was, yeah.
Call him Doctor Strange over here because he's about to. Damn, is this Nosferatu? Is this Frankenstein? Because he was trying to bring her back to life. No. That's very gross. I'm sorry.
Oh man,
I'm being facetious because it was extremely uncomfortable because they walk in on him.
They walk in on him dead over his wife's corpse. He opened up her coffin in a very compromising position with him between her legs. Seemingly died there. I like to believe that his realization that all this shit is real and supernatural probably drove him madness because he was one of the biggest skeptics in the entire story. Like, Ellen's crazy, Nosferatu's not real, the supernatural isn't real. And it's just like watching the supernatural murder his family just drove him insane.
I like to believe he didn't bust and he just died beforehand, but we will never
Probably
know.
died of a heart attack or something from the strain. I don't know.
Robert Eggers found the right amount of shock value in this sort of movie where he didn't go, as crazy as people have previously gone with weird ass movies like Antichrist. He takes the shock value right there to the edge where it's comfortable for general public consumption. So we all want to talk about it, but doesn't take it just slightly beyond where we're like, nope, never mind. We're all cutting this out. This is above rated R rating.
Eventually, I remember when they realized that his boss, the crazy guy that they locked up in the asylum, was in cahoots with Count Orlok. Van Helsing is just like, he calls out the doctor. He's like, why didn't you tell me about this before? And he was like, we just thought he was crazy. And so they go to his holding cell. He apparently escaped because he killed one of the orderlies. He's looking around. He sees all the shit he's written on the walls, the satanic circles and all that stuff. And he's just marveling at it all. He's like, all right, we have to find his office. Whatever deal he made with the monster, it's got to be back in his office.
Yeah, so they get back to, they go to the office and they find the grimoire. And the grimoire is occult in nature. Like, genuinely, if you were to research the literature in it, this comes from probably the most accurate occult shit that we have. That's pretty fucking fascinating. But he was using it to worship Orlok and try to maintain this deal with them. But of course, Orlok doesn't hold up his end of the bargain. But the most important thing about this book is it tells them how to defeat him. And it's the only way they know how to defeat him. And Ellen has to sacrifice herself. She has to consent to Orlok's will and give it up.
Yeah, I read that basically prior to that, Von Franz tells them that every Nosferatu is more or less different. So the way to kill him differs from which one to which one because of how they are created. In this instance, Orlok is here because he was summoned by Ellen, so she's the only one that can really get him killed.
That's fucking cool. I didn't know that. PapaNasty, it's pretty good.
I think he spells it out at one point in the movie that he's seen Nosferatus, or he's heard of them, but not one like Count Orlok.
I was just thinking about the cult stuff. Abel had me join a cult with him, and for my initiation, they just spanked me for an hour. And
dude, that was Alcoholics Anonymous. That wasn't a cult. What the fuck?
He never called me back. I was like, what was this for?
Yeah. Well, it seemed like a cult because they all kept going and praise be unto Jesus, I will be clean.
And then he drank the shitty coffee and he ate the donuts and he called it a day. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and get to the climax because we have everything in hand. One of the most important things that happens next is the conversation between Ellen and Von Franz, where he's like, you kind of know you have to sacrifice yourself, right? And she's like, yeah, I was thinking it, and I guess you're right, because everyone keeps dying. And so they both conspire. She becomes the hero of our story, and they send everyone else on basically a wild goose chase. That's what I love. I love that Thomas became the damsel in distress, and she truly became the knight in shining armor. She is the one that saves the day, because they run off to the house, and I think Abel likes this part.
She's set up as the damsel in distress, but by the climax, she realizes, no, you're actually the hero of the story. You open the book, you need to close it. So the deal is she has to sit at home, consent to Orlok visiting her and becoming his. And while that happens, they're going to go run after to Count Orlok's new estate, find his coffin and set it on fire. He leads them there under the pretense like, oh, we just have to find his coffin and kill him while he's in it. And when they get there, they find the fucking his boss from the bank chilling inside the coffin, trying to LARP as a fucking vampire. Because his deal with Count Orlok was that he wanted to be a vampire, and Orlok tells him like, you will want nothing of me. You will get nothing from me. And so he basically just let him go insane.
Count Chocula ass motherfucker. This is the part of the movie where Willem Dafoe had talked about working with 1,000 live rats because they wade through his house and there's just all these actual trained
rats. The room
rats.
is filled with rats.
That shit's crazy to me, dude. That's so fucking fascinating. But we get the final part of the movie where Ellen says, come get it, daddy. And Nosferatu comes, because it doesn't come flapping in because he's not a bat. That's a big distinguishing thing. But he does show up on time and he's like, we gonna do this thing or what? And then she's like, yeah. Come here. Yeah, I'm yours. Let's do the thing. Let's do the thing. And so he starts sucking and they start fucking. And, you know, it's so good that
he doesn't realize what time it is.
Come daylight, you know, he looks up, he sees the lights out and she's like, no, it's okay. You know, like when you set an alarm for work and, you know, you and your girl are doing the thing and the alarm goes off and she's like, no, it's fine. You can be late. She pulled one of those on him.
What are you guys doing? You guys making pancakes? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You guys making that mac and cheese there?
Macaroni in the pot. That's absolutely the case.
When they first, like, the intimate scene, when they're kissing and the soft music's playing, oh, that was rough to hear. I was like, you know, the violin, like the whole, like, romantic. I was like,
it feels like soundtrack dissidence in a way. I feel like Abel, would know that pretty well.
I feel like just also the realization that he's about to die, it's almost played almost like in a sympathetic, like the way she, like, holds on to him as he, like, begins to just, like, melt blood and shit like that from all his orifices as he begins to die.
Why? Push that dirty bitch off. Why would she do that? That was just fucking...
And then old Thomas, dude, Thomas has to show up, and it was ridiculous. The first thing PapaNasty texted me after seeing this movie was, God, don't you feel bad for Thomas? He had to show up, his wife was dead, and I bet Nos was still inside her. And I was like, no, don't tell me that. But it's true, but he does get one last little glance with his wife, which is also exactly how the first movie ends too. In the first movie, in 1922, Orlok just bursts into smoke and then she kind of like dies. But in this one, he is talking to his wife. Wow, Nos is still on top of her. And you're like, oh, this ain't it. But then they basically have a happily ever after, even though now
he's lost everything, but at least the monster is slain.
Yep. Thomas has nothing else in the world, so hopefully he joins Willem Dafoe and they go out and they destroy further Nosferatu.
I know, he's pretty pissed off at him because he was like, you knew that, you knew he wouldn't be here. You knew this wouldn't save her. You just brought us here to distract us.
Yeah, I would kick Dafoe's Van Helsing his ass for that. I'd be like, no, dude, you know what? This is fucked up. Because now, how are you going to bury her? You're going to fucking bury her with those two still together? You got to separate them? You know how fucking terrible that's going to be? What?
And here's my theory, god damn it. She was bloodlet the entire movie to help her, to fix her sleepwalking. If she was never bloodlet, I believe she would have had enough blood to take his ass to daylight. He would have died and she would have lived. Because Thomas was getting sucked on for days and he survived. Days. He was getting sucked dry.
Mm-hmm.
He had nothing left in him.
And still pumping out. Yep.
He was sleeping all day afterwards. He'd wake up at night and the next day, he's like, oh, god damn, that was so crazy. Dude had to take a whole ass nap the next day. Is there any other themes you do want to disclose, Abel? Because we are running towards the end of time. So it's like, this is the most important time to bring some stuff up.
Kind of got nothing at the moment.
So we already talked World War I. We already talked all general themes of the occult. And then also Nosferatu himself was very likely a portrayal of the term the other. And so basically he was just a strange character from somewhere else, Transylvania in this case. And he came and he fed and, he fed and bred off of, us. But also why did Nosferatu align so much with the original director? Turned out the original director was gay, and he probably felt like an other sort of thing. And I'm pretty sure he had to watch like people die in World War I. And so taking his otherness, combining it with the traumas of war, creating this horrible creature. And then now Robert Eggers is like, I'm traumatized too, bitch. So let me tell you all about it. But that was the movie, guys. I think we did it. And I think we disclosed all of the appropriate information, production and all. And so under those circumstances, this was the only thing we did not mention was this was PapaNasty's pick. And so he gets to ask us all of the questions.
Oh, all right, guys. Do you vouch for me?
Of course I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to the theaters, get traumatized. You're going to love it.
Mm-hmm. You can thank us later. Watch Mary Kill.
Mary.
You have 3 days to marry it.
You have 3 days. I'm gonna pick a watch. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch this movie again. But
You have 3 days to consent to it, and then you're gonna have to marry it, or you're gonna watch everyone you love die.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was it's like, I saw it with some friends, and yeah, I'd never watched porn with my friends before, light porn like this.
Still better than the feeling leaving the Joker 2 with friends.
Oh, leaving the Joker too. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, the Joker 2 set such a low bar of discomfort that now when you go and see a good uncomfortable movie, you're like, I'd take this any day.
Yeah. And I was sick and shit my pants with Joker 2 when we went and saw it. So that was a different story. But yeah.
Well, I know we got a couple more things in the tank. Rogue One will probably drop sooner than later. We still got Scooby-Doo. This was a fun one. And then did we figure out whose pick is next?
You had your pick. We had to put it off for Nosferatu.
Yep. Okay, so her. Got to take it back, guys. Is it Joaquin Phoenix and her?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. Him and Scarlett Johansson's voice. Meow, meow, meow. Let's go.
Who knew that movie was going to predict the future?
And they weren't wrong because of the story of that guy who sacked himself for his little AI chica.
Yeah, people need help, man.
Yeah, that was pretty horrible. But what was it? He was
talking to a Daenerys Targaryen chatbot.
Oh, damn. Dude, you guys are going to find me one day, similar situation. It's going to be a Lola Bunny chatbot. Oh. And you're going to be like, babe, I'm going to go. Oh, yeah, I'm going to see you in the Space Jam in the sky. Just wait till I try to Space Jam my...
Come on and slam and welcome to the jam.
Okay. Eric.
All right. Well, anyways, we're going to leave you with that, guys. Thank you so much. Please like, comment, subscribe on Spotify. Leave that 5-star review and have a good day. Thank you so much. Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.